I came into high school 195 pounds, according to my doctor, at least, because I didn't know when I came into high school. Before I came into high school, I didn't like care about my own health or how I looked, like, or how I dressed. Which, if you know me now, like, I spend way too much money into how I dress. I mean, I knew it was a problem. I knew it was unhealthy, but some people made fun of it sometimes. But I was always too lazy to fix it. I was always like, if you make fun of it, well, screw you, man. But being unhealthy, it's never good. Sports were stupid. I always thought exercise was pointless. I was like, you know what? So what? I look kind of bad. Who cares? If you make fun of me, screw you. But being healthy is bad. And I did want to lose weight. I didn't like the way I looked, but I didn't really want to do anything about it. Before freshman year, freshman orientation, we were in the cafeteria. I was about waiting to go home, and then my friends, they called me over to this table, and there were these two cross-country recruiters. I had no clue what cross-country was, right? But they were like, hey, you should do cross-country. It's good exercise. I was like, yeah, I could use some of that. And so then summer practices came, and I was like, yeah, no, I have no clue what the hell I signed up for. And we started running. And I was like, what the why are we running? Why does this hurt? And that was my summer. It just was, we kept running, and I, kept powering through it. I have asthma, which makes sports really difficult. Breathing isn't my strong suit. When freshman year actually started, I'd gone through all these summer practices. I'd run really hard. I think at this point I had probably lost a lot of weight just through sweating and stuff, because man, that first summer was the worst out of my entire running career. Freshman year in general really is where I pushed it. I finally met Coach Rice, which, man, that man is a godsend, because he's just one of the best people I've ever met. The first thing he ever said to me is, are you Holden Metzger? Which is my friend who signed up for cross country and never did it because he did soccer. He actually was one of the few who called me over to sign up for cross country, but he didn't do it because he was kind of just trying to get me to do it as a joke, and I actually did it seriously along with my other friend, who is not really my friend right now. And then we started our first practice.
I forgot, when we first started when I first started doing athletics, right, Chris just brought me along with his career of going with cross country and swimming, and honestly that was one of the greatest moves Chris could have pulled. But
right away Coach Rice was like, yeah, Chris, you'll get better. And I was like, yeah, you can tell I suck.
When Chris first showed up for cross country, he was a nice kid, quiet kid, and the thing I remember is that he wrote for Mr. Snow, I do cross country and I stink. And I just remember Chris wasn't fast to start off.
And I did suck real bad. I was the worst on the team. My first cross country meet time for a 5K in Forest Park, our home course, was 43 minutes, which that's pretty bad.
His first time was a 45 for the Forest Park course. But what I've noticed is that Chris in cross country and then later on swimming just kept working and working and working.
Because the average time is in the 20s or low 30 minutes. So it was pretty bad. But when you're that much worse than the rest of the team, you don't really feel like you belong, you kind of feel I feel like I'm holding everyone down or something. But the team and Coach Rice himself was just so supportive. They were like, come on, Chris. They're always cheering, during practice even, which you don't generally cheer during practice, but it was pretty, they were pretty supportive, and the final meet, citywide, freshman year, Rice was like, every place counts, run your hardest. And I was like, oh god, should I not run? At this point, I had kind of already been considering quitting, because I was like, I'm kind of just holding everybody down. But I had been dropping a lot of time, so I don't know. I was like, am I ever gonna get as fast as the other guys? But I don't know, I'll just go with the flow for now. I'm not a quitter. I would never actually quit, but I just kind of, the thought was there. But throughout the course of freshman year, from 43 minutes went down to 34 minutes, or like something 34s, or like 33:57 or somewhere in that range. Dropped 9 minutes and 7 seconds. That's the number I remember. And I started at 43, so 43 something. I don't remember the exact seconds. Yeah, that was a big drop. That's like, you don't generally see people drop that much. I've never heard of anyone else who dropped that much. Just throughout the course of one season, that's, wow. Like, yeah, I was pretty red to start with, but you know, if you just show up to practice every day, work hard and push through it, it pays off. Freshman year was painful, like physically, like breathing was really hard. And it's still pretty hard, but not as bad. I had an inhaler, which helped, but you know, it still was the worst part. Then swim came around. I don't know what necessarily motivated me to do swim, because I just, you know, as a kid I always really liked swimming in water around in the pool. I was like, yay, I get to have fun in the water. And you know, the entire cross country team is pretty much the entire swim team. It's like basically the same team, except the swim team's a bit bigger. And you know, because Coach Rice coaches both, so he's been my cross country coach and swim coach for 3 years now. And he's my history teacher, and God, he's an amazing history teacher. I didn't think so at first, but now I love him. So freshman year, swim came, and I didn't know what competitive swimming was. I was like, so, you know, I just started swimming, and I was like, why are we doing this? Why does this hurt? I don't know what I signed up for. But, and I was, you know, I wasn't as bad at swim as I was cross country comparatively, because everybody's bad at swim. Swim's a hard sport. I personally think that swim is the hardest sport out there, because it works out every single muscle group, and it's really hard on your lungs, which with asthma isn't that fun. So yeah, freshman year I sucked, and Rice put me on the backstroke, and I hated it because I hated backstroke. I'm more of a breaststroker, which that's the one where you go like. Now of course, freshman and sophomore year, breaststroke was kind of all filled up with seniors, so I didn't really get to do it that much until junior year. But freshman year, I didn't have as much of a noticeable time drop, because you know, in swim, you know, time is like only a couple of seconds, and I know I dropped some, but I don't really remember it enough for, I don't think it was that significant. I don't even have the time results because I lost them. So I mean, it went well, and I mean, I enjoyed it, but I don't remember as much of a time drop. I know I don't think it mattered as much because Coach Rice put me on backstroke for freshman year, and I never did that again.
Every day during swim practice, at the very beginning, he and Ben would go over his start, he would go over his strokes, and he would just keep going. So this nice kid who was kind of quiet and just worked hard really improved a lot in both sports. And in the classroom, even though he writes me a personal note saying, I really have a good feeling about this, I've noticed that his work in my class at any rate has been pretty good and pretty consistent the whole time. So
from me joining that to see him train and go on more with the sports, right? He's gotten better and better throughout the years.
Sophomore year also went really well for cross country.
And it's just incredibly fast.
And also swim, but mostly cross country. You know, I dropped another 7-ish minutes. I went down from a 34 to a 25. That's not right. Something like that.
As he gets more determined, tries to go after bigger goals.
I know my time was a 25:30 something.
To try to get better himself to, you know, the next level. Try to be the next leader, try to beat the next fastest time. You can tell he's racing not only against everyone but himself.
Which, you know, that's like, so it was basically another, I think it was 8 minutes. It was basically like I've dropped nearly I've dropped 18 minutes since I started. It's like, wow, that's insane.
And for like say cross country, you know, as the years go on, we still got junior and senior year. You have him; he could be possibly the next captain or so.
So, you know, I was like, man, junior year, that's gonna be the year. You know, like sophomore year, I didn't push as hard for cross country. I don't know. I guess I was just in better shape. It didn't hurt as much. I don't know if I could have gone harder, but like I still did drop a lot of time, which was really good for me. And it was a bad year in general. Like cross country was the one good part of my year because everything else kind of fell apart grade wise and social wise. Swim sophomore year was also pretty decent. I actually started to get to do breaststroke.
And like you could see it like in his say breaststroke in the swimming team, right? You can see how he's not say a natural breaststroker, but you can tell that he's really putting a lot of effort into that breaststroke, making him one of the best breaststrokers we have on the team so far.
A little bit, not too much, because again, all the seniors had filled up on the lanes. But I mean, I worked on some stuff. I still wasn't great. For some reason, my flip turns, which I thought I had mastered freshman year, just went to crap sophomore year. Wasn't too bad. I mean, it was, yeah, guys, swim was still, sophomore year swim kind of ate up my life because as soon as I got home, swim practice goes on so much longer than the cross country because, you know, you have so many people in one pool, you can't just run all around all over the place. It takes so much more time, and it goes on till like 5:15, get home at like 5:30, then you gotta do homework, and then, you know, eat, and you just kind of go to sleep because you're so dang tired. And like my grades did suffer a lot because of swim, but you know, I got through it eventually. Swim season sophomore year mentally sucked, but as for sports wise it was decent. So sophomore year I also did a third sport in the spring. I was like, you know what, I need to keep in shape, and you know, I've got some friends on the track team, let's try track. I hated track. Central has the worst track team ever. I mean, I don't know about like actual sports competitively, I just mean organization wise, coaches, I hated it all. Team didn't know half the team. It was so huge and unorganized. I hated it so much. I'm pretty sure the coaches would barely even notice if I wasn't there. I didn't try in track because I didn't care about track. Oops. And that kind of was the problem. I should have been running on my own. I don't know. I just kind of hated the experience of track, so I didn't really try. And I kind of, like, again, mentally, sophomore year really sucked, just socially, mainly. So I didn't work out as much as I should have, and that affected me junior year. Junior year, I didn't PR as much, and that's the personal record. I didn't get that many best times. Sophomore year, I came in with a minute, or a little less than a minute best time from the last time of citywide's freshman year. Then junior year was like 6-7 minutes worse, and I was the entire season getting back to where I was. And overall, yeah, during the season it was, I think, maybe 10 seconds less than where I was at the end of sophomore year. So junior year, it was a good year for me mentally, but just, you know, as a runner, not the best. I guess, you know, when you're not talking to anyone, you have more time to focus on running, and when you're actually, you know, socializing with people, it can hurt you because you're not focusing so much on your career, which is, you know, it's a balancing act. Junior year, swim, that's right now, actually. It's going, well, I'd say it's going, because this year, practices have been suffering, the whole team's been suffering just because of the snow days, and we've had so many meets back to back. We've had like, I think like 8 practices in total, and we've already had like 5 meets. That's insane. And like, normally December just goes like, and normally, my coach says normally December crawls by and January flies by. December went by like that. because Thanksgiving was late, so swim started late, which is really annoying. So it's like this year, like I'm getting stronger. I am having noticeable time drops and everything. I'm doing the IM and the 500, which those are the worst events besides butterfly. And Rice is even putting me in the 50 butterfly for the medley, and those are all pretty hard. And then like I need more practice, but we're the team suffering. I am dropping time, but it's it's hard with this little practice that we're having. I'm hoping that's gonna pick up. So that's basically where I am now. And now I am 160-ish pounds, which I've dropped like 30 pounds, which is wow. I didn't know that until the right before sophomore year. My doctor was like, "Dude, you've lost 30 pounds," and I was like, "Excuse me?" He was like, "Yeah." I was like, "What? No way." Freshman year, Coach Rice was like, "How much did you lose?" I was like, I think like 10 pounds. He was like, "That's it?" And I was like, "Yeah," because I originally thought I weighed 180 coming into high school, but my doctor said, "Your physical says otherwise." I was like, "Oh, yeah, that was pretty concerning." And I was like, "Wow, I've dropped so much weight." My doctor was like, "Yeah, you're in perfect health." I was like, "I have asthma." And he was like, "Yeah, there's that." So overall, my experience, it's been pretty good. As an athlete, I'm getting better. It's not, I came in as one of the worst athletes ever. Now I'm like semi-decent. I'm still not that great. Senior year, I'm hoping to be the year. I need to practice all summer. But I really I'm glad that I have Coach Rice.
By and large, Chris hasn't changed that much. He's gotten better, but what's there is that he works pretty hard at what he wants to do.
And the rest of the team, they're all super supportive.
Oh, you started freshman year, right? Yeah, starting all the way from freshman year all the way to like now, you can see that he's gotten faster, he's gotten stronger, more determined, and just kind of better himself as an athlete.
And yeah, I'm pretty happy with things and how I've turned out. I just hope next year gets even faster. All right, thank you.
How's that?
That's good. Thanks.
Hamburger.
All right.